Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I'm here with the last and final Scrap a Sketch 4 seasons in 1 month for the 30th of April. And here is the sketch from the lovely Lisa Sikorsky. She has created every sketch for this month, and I've posted a video with her sketch and my process every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with 2 bonuses on Monday and Wednesday of the 18th and 20th of April. And so this sketch is 1 picture and some layers. I'm using the Sunny Days by Maggie Holmes. I just got this collection, or this paper pad, at Tuesday morning. And I picked this one over some of my other beachy type theme paper pads because it has these tags in it, and there is this one tag. Of course, it's super glaring, but there's this one tag in the sketch, and I thought I would try and use an actual tag instead of making one. So here's my picture. This is the view out of the back porch of our beach house that we rent, or at least the one we rented this past spring break. So while officially I would consider this summer as my season, it could be spring because that's when we went. This is my beach container and has all my beachy themed papers, my like real themey things like sand, beaches, waves, all that kind of stuff. It also has pretty much any of my stickers and embellishments that have anything to do with the beach, as well as anything I know has happened at the beach. So there's some different things in there that you would probably not consider beach themed because you don't know the crazy things we do at the beach. So that is pretty much my beach box. So I've got my paper pad, my picture, my box, and the sketch. So let's see how this goes. So the first thing I did was go through my paper pad, and I'd already kind of glanced at it, and I've decided I'm going to cheat just a little. So the paper I just pulled out is pink. It looks white in this video, but it is pink. It's like a light pink. And I've decided I'm going to use that as the back 2 layers. So in this sketch, it is a 12 by 12, and then what looks like a 1/4 inch border, and then what looks like an 8 by 8 square in the middle, like a framed 8 by 8. So I assumed that this would be at least 4 papers, but I decided, like I'm pointing out here, is this paper already has a border around it. So I've decided I'm just going to use that and then use these 2 papers as the 8 by 8 in the middle. So I'm going to gut a little bit of this pink paper that's in the middle because I'm going to use that as my picture mat. That way I'm not pulling out another paper, and I'm not using just, a regular cardstock. I'm just going to use the inside of this paper. So less waste, and I'm happy with that. But I make sure not to cut anything bigger than the 8 by 8 space that I'm going to be filling in. I got to have enough space for the tape to adhere down to the back page. So I trimmed down this paper that I cut, and I'm writing down the details from the back of my picture on my little sketch right there. Go me. I am putting the picture on this piece that I cut out of that background paper. I cut it down to 6.5 by 4.5. There is kind of a thick off border, like it's not centered on the mat. So right here, I'm tapping my fingers because I've realized that I've made a mistake. My plan was to cut that circular, it's umbrellas is what it's supposed to be, like beach umbrellas. I was going to use that on the left and the blue on the right. But I made the mistake of cutting that paper with the circles, the umbrellas, for the wider part, which is on the right. And there is a reason that I was going to have it on the other side. And I just end up doing it, and making it work. So I could have flipped the wide side to the other side. It's a sketch. You can create how you want. But I really wanted to stick with this sketch almost to the T. I do have one little thing that is definitely different. But for the most part, even where I put my accent dots is almost identical to where Lisa has them on sketch. So my plan is to fussy cut out one of these umbrellas, and where in the sketch it has a little flower in the bottom right corner of the picture, I was going to use this little umbrella and then have that umbrella paper on the opposite side so it would bring it across. But I didn't do that because I cut my paper wrong. And it's okay. I really do love the way this looks. And I end up popping that up on foam so it gives it some dimension from the paper. So it really just kind of looks like it's coming off the page, which I love. So then I cut out these 2 tags, and there's where I differ from the sketch. She has one kind of wide tag, and I decided I really wanted to use this one with the seashells and this one with the blue and white stripe. I feel like it will bring all the colors that are on the umbrella paper into the layout, and I really like the seashells. So I tap my finger a lot in this sketch, or during the sketch, and I think it's because I really left this super simplistic. I did not use any mixed media. I did not add extra layers or extra embellishments. Honestly, I pretty much stick to exactly what is going on in the sketch, except for that double tag situation. Now, the thing that I selected for the strip down the middle is actually the branding strip from one of the papers I pulled off. And it's got some pink and blue. And so I know the pink will disappear into the page, so I'm going to end up inking it with some vintage photo. And I just used my dauber. I also decided I would bring that same texture in by inking around. So I guess I do use some kind of ink. But I ink around the picture mat as well. And then I trim off, since it's from a paper pad, it's got a little perforation, and I don't want that. So I kind of do a little wavy trim, very small. I don't want to cut too much off. I really want the majority of that width, but I want it to have a little dimension. So I'd make it a little wavy. It's not terribly easy to tell that it's trimmed up that way, but I also can't cut straight, y'all, at all. Not at all. So it takes me like 3 trims to get this piece of paper straight across at the bottom. And then I ink it just in case. It's dark, so you can't really see it, but I figured that I would go ahead and do it. So then I got it taped down and make sure that it's not going anywhere. And yes, there's a hole right there in the middle of that paper, but the picture's going to cover it, and that's fine. And if the picture didn't cover it, the tags that go underneath there would. So I just put a little tape in the middle of the picture because I want it to stay down, but I need to be able to tuck the tags and anything else I may tuck and put in there. So I got the bottom part of the tags off. I only need a little bit because I don't want it to come up to the top of my 8x8 papers. Now, I'm assuming based on the proportions in the sketch that maybe the picture is not a 4x6 and it's like a 3x5 or maybe even smaller than that. But I was not cutting a stitch of this picture out because I wanted to encompass every inch of the beach and the water and the sky, the clouds. I love going to the beach. So I didn't want to cut it down. And so that is why my circle here, where she has like a circular just embellishment, I'm going to use this as a journal space. So I already have these circles cut for like tracing purposes, but I had 2 of the same size. So I went ahead and used one of them, and it's a stark white, and I'm going to just use my adhesive runner and put that in there. Now, in her sketch, everything is within that 8x8 or whatever that square is in the middle, minus a smidge of the branding strip, or the little strip down the middle is coming up. Other than that, everything else is within that 8x8. I let the journaling space go over, as well as my little embellishment that's in the bottom corner, and I'm okay with that. I love the way this turned out, and like I said, I stuck almost identical to the sketch, so it's all good with me. I do take a blue pen. It is a zig marker, and trace lines with my ruler. And then I use a gold jelly roll and write my journaling. And it just wrote down that we had just arrived at the beach and went to go see the view from the back porch. And then I'm going to pull out my adhesive. Nope. Well, they are adhesive, but enamel dots. That's the word I'm looking for. And I was counting to make sure I was going to have enough because I knew I needed at least 6. And I wanted to make sure I had a couple to use. I love to use enamel dots and gemstones in my tag holes. I'm not a huge fan of ribbon and twine only because I can't tie it right. I never know what to do with it. So I am going to start experimenting more with that. But today wasn't the day. So I go through my humongous box of all this beach stuff. You know what I pull out of here? This one itty bitty, I believe it's from Recollections, little banner. And that is it. That little thing right there. I put some double-sided tape behind it, and I put it down there right where her sketch has, and it says on the sketch to put the date there. Now, obviously, what I've said plenty of times before is a sketch is a sketch. It's just something to start with. But I did write Saturday because my 2022 beach adventure book is going to be almost in time frame order, just because I decided to do it that way. There's so many pictures that are very similar, and it's almost going to be like, just flipping through our adventure instead of, day to day or whatever. I think I've decided I'm going to do it time-wise. So if I put the day of the week on there, then that is helpful. Plus it has the time on that circled journal space. So, yes, I'm extra. I know. Normally I don't do things that way, but this time I've decided to. So I did pull out a Tim Holtz chipboard word phrase that says found objects, and I did find the beach. Not that it was lost, but I certainly found it, and I thought that was, of all of the little word phrases I had in there, it was the most fitting. And then I pull out my Mondo Llama Puffy Alphas, and these are like... they're not felt. I almost said felt. They're like foam. And I love these. They came from Target. I bought like 3 sets of them. I have 1 full set still. And I just decided to title it The View. And I do end up having to move everything over a little because the W is so long. I move over everything. I was going to just do the on one tag and view on the other, but because the second tag is tucked under, it has less space and it's the bigger word. So I just move it all over, and I will go back and use some some Nouveau Deluxe behind them. They have not come off on me, but especially since I picked them all up and moved them again, I figure I will go ahead and not risk them falling off. So I get those on there, and I look to make sure that I am happy with that. And then I put the little dot on the eye. And then the only thing I really have left after that is to put down the enamel dots. And these enamel dots are from Park Lane. And I got these. This is one of my first enamel dot purchases. And because I couldn't find them anywhere else. And then I realized, well, not without ordering them online. And then I found them at Hobby Lobby. So I love those too because there's a lot of them and they're usually a little cheaper because they have their 50% off sale every other week. So I put a pink one on this predominantly blue tag, and then I open up my other one and get one of the blue ones out. And I apologize, you're going to see my head because I want to make sure that I get it right over the white dot in the middle. And maybe you've already seen my head. I try not to stick my head in there too much, but sometimes you got to get right over what you're doing. So I'm literally looking at the sketch to place these gemstones, or the enamel dots, and putting them almost identical to where they are. And so one more thing does go outside the 8x8, and that is this last enamel dot, because that is actually how it is in the sketch. So I'm going to look at this, tap my fingers, decide that I don't want to do anything else to it. And then I'm going to show you the sketch again. And it's a little crooked, you all. I'm so sorry. Not terribly crooked, though. But I am going to show you the sketch one more time, and then I'm going to show you some close-ups. But, there's just not a whole lot on here, but I do love the way this layout turned out. Sometimes having a simple, over-the-top layout is just what you need. So I will take this time right now to say that I love this entire series. Lisa's sketches are so fun, and you can make them as crazy and wild and more as you want. You can make them just like this, as simple and just, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I hope you all go to Facebook and check out Scrap a Sketch. I am super excited because tomorrow begins May I Scrap Lift You, and I am going to be participating with some really amazing scrappers. So I hope that you all have a great day. I hope you'll come back and see me tomorrow, and happy scrapping.